Human rights would not have been on the agenda of the African Union or the OAU 10 or 25 years ago. Increasingly, though, African leaders are realizing that peace, stability and development are linked to good governance and human rights. The absence of dictators or self-appointed demagogues points to the progress on the continent, which has now elected heads of state. Globally, 2016 will commemorate 36 years since the adoption of the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination.
To commemorate these important milestones, the African Union and heads of states, in particular, at the 25th Ordinary Summit in June here in South Africa in Sandton, declared 2016 the year of human rights, in particular with focus to women.
So the fact that we are looking at human rights is, I think, an important issue. There are also other matters. Inevitably, the issue of funding and the implementation of African Union decisions will feature very prominently.
Also came up for discussion last year.
Member states need to ensure that their obligation and dues are fully met.
The AU summit could be historic in that it will be the first time heads of state will vote on the deployment of the African Union-led peacekeeping force, this one to Burundi. Burundi has become more and more unstable following President Pierre Nkurunziza's decision to push forward with a third term last year. He's rejected the proposal to send peacekeepers to his country.
Burundi has been so peaceful that they've even sent troops to Somalia and in other areas in the past. So what is needed, or what is the need of the hour, is to make sure that as the negotiations continue or take place, there is no observer on the ground that says ordinary citizens are not being victimized while the negotiations are going on.
I am sure that the summit in Addis will be dominated by Burundi and by the elections of the new chairperson and all of these things, and that the more mundane stuff of building infrastructure and improving health, big and important decisions will be taken, will largely be ignored. There are many issues.
The growing threat of terrorism is sure to be discussed as well. And while Africa is rising, the continent needs to grow more rapidly than it's done in the last few years. With its current partners, including China, prospects appear positive, but there's also a call for caution.
We need to be quite careful in our engagement with China, as with any other big country. China is primarily interested in China. Africa is primarily interested in Africa, and it is Africans that will develop Africa, not China. So we need to engage with the Chinese and reach an agreement that they will help to develop Africa, that their interests are not only purely national.
It is also expected to consider the reports on AIDS Watch Africa, African trade, United Nations reform and climate change, as well as accelerating water and sanitation goals in the continent. The AU, as a pan-Africanist institution, has made substantial progress in taking a stronger lead in the integration of the African continent. However, it still has a long way to go before it can claim to be both effective and influential. Lehana Tsotetsi, SABC News, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.